right, okay, I've read all the books. I know why I'm unhappy, or I think I know why I'm unhappy. Why am I not doing the things that I should do to make myself happier?
Okay. Did you find, coming back to something you said earlier, that your external reference point for what was successful possibly and your view of yourself was so mismatched?
Very much so.
That conflict created a huge amount of unhappiness.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of, I'm sure this is probably familiar for a lot of men. I went through my 20s. Let's say I came out of as a teenager. I was a bit underconfident. I don't know why. I was playing semi-professional sport by the time I was 16. I was playing for the county, and then I joined the RAF and I played rugby for them. And I should have been I was doing all these physical actions.
Jock.
I was a jock, but I didn't have the confidence that was required to take that kind of physical action and make it a positive mental journey. And it's a really, really interesting tale because I spent that early part of my life hugely underconfident. And it's taken many, many years to find my own, what am I,
I think that's what am I? I think not all mental well-being is, there's so many facets to it. I talk about this all the time. It's like, what's the one thing? It's not one thing.
No.
But if we're having a different conversation around it today, you're like, okay, there's a lot of stuff. Society is changing, I think, in my time. There's a lot of unrest, a lot of mistrust. I think COVID has a huge amount. I think we're coming out at the back end of that still, dealing with a lot of the issues that happened there. The isolation, the mistrust, the doubt that people have in government structures, all these different things. We're coming out the back end of that. People are definitely more mistrusting.
I think it's changed.
More skeptical.
Yeah, it's changed the way we view government. It's changed the way we view health authorities. It's changed the way we view a lot of authority because we don't see them being a benign force in our lives.
And also a force of possible stability.
Yeah.
And that's the point I was kind of coming to. It's like, when you have belief in structures, it creates, for many of us, a sense of stability in our life, doesn't it? I believe that if I didn't trust whether gravity was going to work every day, I'd be quite...
You'd be anxious, wouldn't you?
I'd be quite anxious about life, wouldn't I? I'd be like, fuck me, I just trust that we're going to stay on this planet somehow. I don't understand it. And that's a silly example, and we all have routines that generate a level of certainty. When you start questioning the bigger things in life, which is what religion did for a lot of us, it gave us answers and certainty in things that were unanswerable.
You knew that if you were a good person, the church told you were going to go to heaven and ascend.
Probably go to heaven. Oh, wow, that solved that big mystery about what happens to me.
Don't have to worry about
I have a level of certainty now. So as all these things start collapsing, I think it creates uncertainty. It's quite a deep conversation, but I'm enjoying it. It creates I can't see Mark anymore. He strategically put his camera. It's like a right pervert over there. He's got his cap down. Side-eyeing me. But it creates a level of certainty, I think.
Yeah.
That maybe we don't have. And that creates unrest. I know you're going to talk. And that creates anxiety. And that creates stress. And how am I to trust the man over the road and his intentions now? Back in the day, they said, Lee Evans, I'd leave the fucking front of the house off in my day. No one would nick anything. Leave it all in the front garden. Now it's like, everyone's like, lock your doors. Fucking like, why are we mistrusting our general...
But it's so easy to fall into that narrative that everything is scary and everything's a risk and that the world's out to get you. I did it myself. I was a victim for many, many years. I always believed that everything was out to get me. And if the young people coming through today, if they could be shown a pathway that was not everything is out to get you, life will life you. You're going to get handed some challenge, and here's a set of processes that will teach you how to deal with it. Because by holding someone's hand through every single thing, you rob them of their independence. You take away their ability to free think, to respond to a problem in a creative way, and I see it in young engineers who are incredibly intelligent, far more intelligent than I, and yet their life experience has been a rinse and repeat exercise without any real challenge.
And you don't get the feedback.
No.
I'm a big, again, this is another aspect. I think if we were talking about mental health as a topic, anyone tuning into our stuff is probably going to be interested in mental health.
Yeah.
Society has a huge part to play. The structures we've looked at for certainty and almost can rely on, I don't think people necessarily assert and rely on. I think there's mistrust in our brothers, our general human beings. Not everyone, but there is an element of that. You hear it all the time.
If you only focused on the things that are reported negatively, you could easily believe that the guy next to you, whatever color, creed,
he's out to get you,
whatever sexuality he is or she is, whatever they are, you could believe they were a negative force. When you meet someone that's genuinely positive, and like someone like Arjuna, who has gone on his journey of becoming a monk, whenever I speak to him, I'm always like, whoa, how can you be so? It's like here and now,
glowing yellow sun coming out of him.
Yeah. It's simultaneously incredible but frustrating. I want to be you, but I don't know if I could get there.
You are right that if we focus on the negativity, and I think that has a massive impact. If you look at a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, you're bound to be anxious and stressed when you aren't certain in life anymore and how it works. I think that is a huge proponent.
And for a lot of those people, they don't have, if everybody could come through the academy, for instance, and see.
I like how many plugs you're putting in for our academy.
I'll talk about it. I'll talk about that endlessly to pretty much everybody, much to their boredom. But I explain that it's not just about one specific methodology, let's say, but if you can be shown things, shown tools, shown ways of thinking, challenged in your perceptions, and challenged in your beliefs, and have that done to you at an early stage in your life, I think society itself will be way better.
Yeah, and I think that comes down, I love this topic because you've touched on something I truly believe, which is allowing people to have the freedom of their own experience. Like you said, if you're wrapped in cotton wool in your journey in life and you're never really having the experiences, of course, I'd never want to see anyone. If I could help, you'd go and help them. But we take it to the extreme. It's like, they don't feel very well. I must take that away from them. Yeah. And it's so hard with kids, isn't it?
Living in your pain is actually a really key skill. You're going to get pain. I've had more pain than the average, from injuries and incidents and things that I've put myself out there for.
Mental for you, and jobs.
Mentally, through my own kind of inability to deal with things and,
But we also rob people of confidence when they never have to figure shit out for themselves. That's a big part of my coaching. I always say this. I'm like, look, if you want to be spoon-fed and be rescued every 5 minutes, I ain't for you, because I'm going to let you swim a bit.
But you've
had that.
And you've challenged me on a number of occasions where I've never thought, that guy's a dick. I've always
probably have.
Well, no, it's funny because when you're in dark times, and you've been through some fairly dark times with me, and very, very personally and very individually, you challenge perceptions and beliefs, and it's so easy to believe your own hype. It's so easy to believe wrong narratives. It's so easy to believe things that maybe aren't true, and you can just, because your mind's incredibly complex, it's constantly trying to come up with ways to kill you. I think,
Well, it's certainly, it's a complex thing.
It's a bloody complex thing, and it's so difficult to navigate all that. And I think if you've got somebody like, if I could give anybody any advice to, if they were struggling with a thing, is not to seek the somebody else to do it for you. It's to find that method to either help you do it yourself or overcome it with someone's help. Don't rely on others to do things that you can do.